What's up, guys? So we're gonna be doing a little shop tour, I guess you can say. The shop is not set up yet, but I'm gonna go over how I have it set up as of December 30th, 2022. Jeez. I went backwards because I know that New Year's is like right around the corner, so I figured let me just say the date backwards. But anyway, we're doing a little shop tour. It's still super echoey in here. It has gotten a little bit better. I got my little wheelie chair, so I can slide around a little bit easier, which makes it a lot nicer to walk around in here. But I did get a little shelf. I got a couple things. I don't have any workbenches yet. I still haven't built any sort of workbenches. My tools are still kind of finding their spots. And I don't have anything really permanent, which is kind of how it's probably always going to be in here. Nothing's ever going to be 100% permanent. I don't really want to be stuck with one setup all the time, just in case I want to change some stuff around. A lot of my tools are kind of like contractor style tools that can be wheeled around and stuff like that. So minus the lathe and a couple of other things, but most things are on wheels. And then I have my card tables, but we'll go over that in a sec. Now, if there's anything that I go over in this video that you guys want me to go more in depth into that I don't really explain enough, or if you guys are interested in any sort of thing like that, let me know down below, leave a comment and include that. Like, hey, go over your lathe a little bit more, where you bought it or whatever, that type of stuff. I don't know if I'm gonna already say that in this video because I'm just kind of winging it. We're just gonna kind of go over this. Sorry about the echo. I feel like I have to say that every single time I record one of these because it's still super echoey in here, especially when none of the fans or heat or anything like that is on. It's pretty echoey. So we are now in the entrance. This is the door to the outside. We have the light switches right there. I know that doesn't really matter, but that was a big thing there I had to decide on, is where the light switches are gonna go, how many I'm gonna have. One is for the outside, and then the other three are actually for the lights inside of the shop, and I'll show you. So the center one controls every other light. The right one controls all the lights, the half of the lights on this side, and then the far one controls all the lights on the far side of the wall. I'll explain to you. Ready? Okay, so this is all the lights on right now, nice and bright. The lights are kind of weird because we have the scissor trusses up there, so they're kind of, they kind of point inward, which is nice. I think it kind of adds a little bit of some light going in some different directions. But the center switch turns off every other light. The reason I did that is because it allows me to control a little bit more of the lighting in here, especially for recording. I may not want as harsh of a light. I may want it to make it a little bit lighter. Usually when I'm working in here, I just have everything on, but I figured for recording, I didn't know exactly how much light was gonna get put out. If I ever hang more things up on the wall, there'll be less bouncing light, like reflective light off the walls that will reflect and kind of fill in a bit as well. So I figured, let me have a little bit of control. Granted, if I wanted to, I could always just remove 2 extra switches from there and just have them all connected to one switch and just have everything on one if I wanted to. But I don't think I'm gonna do that because this kind of gives me some more control. As you can see, if I turn on the center light, there's right now only 50% of the lights are on. If I turn that on, it makes it a little bit brighter, which usually I like to work in this type of lighting. But if you look at the wall, it is a little bit blown out. So it's a give and take. If you guys have followed me at all, you know that I usually start off very plain Jane, nothing going on, all white, and then I slowly change it. If you guys haven't seen the other videos, I do have several, well, actually, this is a perfect situation. Let's turn off some of these lights. I do have several outlets on each wall. So there are 8 outlets on each wall, which allows me to move tools around, have everything, wherever I need it to be, which sometimes I don't know. I didn't know exactly where anything was gonna go. This is specifically set up to be a workshop. Granted, I could have put up plywood on the wall, which would have been a little bit easier for hanging things up, and also given a little bit more of a rustic look, but plywood was really expensive and it still pretty much is. It would have probably been 5 times, 6 times more expensive as of right now if I use some like thick plywood on the wall. But let's go over to this corner and then kind of work our way clockwise around the shop. So in this corner, we actually have the Echo hanging up on the wall there. I use that as a temperature gauge for in here, and I have some automation set up where the AC unit will actually kick on if the temperature in here gets too cold. I have it set to about 35 here, which is usually a little bit warmer up where the AC unit is. But if it ever gets too cold, if I can't come in here for a couple days, the temperature in here will drop. It'll turn on the heat, and then it'll turn off at about 50 degrees. And then if it keeps dropping down below, it'll keep doing that. It'll keep turning back on. This is actually the filter that came with the Glowforge. You can actually see it right there. So that's the Glowforge filter that I plan on actually using in here for a couple of other things, because I just have the Glowforge venting outside where it is, up in the office area. This is a dehumidifier. I have this in here just because I don't want any of my tools to rust. Highly recommended dehumidifiers. I'll probably put a link to that in the description because I did get that on Amazon. It's an affiliate link, so if you guys end up picking one up, it's really nice. One thing that I don't like about it is that the part that sucks in the air is actually on this side, which I'm not a fan of because the numbers are all upside down. And this is also where the tank is that you would remove to have it, to empty it out, you know. And it also can vent through a, not vent, but drip out through a hose. But I just have that fill up. That takes weeks to fill up all the way. There isn't too much moisture in here. All the controls are up on the top. But normally you're supposed to have it facing this way with the little green light on the front and stuff. But I don't like it that way because I want to be able to see how full of water that is. And you can see there's very, very little right at the bottom. So I have it backwards. First time I came in here, this said like, what did it say? I thought it had an error code because, it said 35, I think. Was it 35? Yeah, it was 53. So upside down, it would say 53, but this way it would look like an E5. So I thought there was an error code the first time I saw it, which was kind of embarrassing because I was just like, oh no, it's broken. I just got it. It's only been one day. So that sucked. And then here we have my little simple little table, like a little folding table that I have my woods right now that I've been using. I kind of have them separated into sizes. These are pretty much bigger sizes, right? And then as they get smaller, this shouldn't be here. This should probably be over there, but whatever, it's here for now. Actually, no, all of these are kind of together. These are all almost full size pieces. This one should be over here as well. And then this just allows me to grab pieces. So like if I have something that will fit inside of this shape here, I can just grab that as well. And there's a piece of scrap here. This is garbage. And then these are all smaller pieces that I may never use or I may start using. I do recommend anybody out there, if you have pieces like this, write down what type of wood it is on it so that you know what it is. I just write it in pencil usually. And I haven't always done that, but sometimes I'm like scrambling to try to figure out what kind of wood was this. I don't remember exactly what this was. And then we have the table saw over here. This is just a rigid table saw, like contractor saw. It's on the wheels, so that helps a lot. Right there, we have a miter saw, but that was a hand-me-down. I didn't buy it. It works well enough, but it's, you know, I don't know if I could recommend it. It's fine. I used it to cut a lot of the flooring when I did that. There's a nice little cheap Harbor Freight drill press there. I probably wouldn't buy that again. I would probably get something like just a little bit bigger. Most of these tools are very much benchtop tools. I don't really have any standalone tools by themselves besides the lathe. I have its own little feet for that. Bandsaw, cheap one. I'll link to this in the description as well. It works well enough to break down parts just to get them into a rough shape. A little bit different than the bandsaw, but similar at the same time. But it allows you to cut inside diameter thing, so you can thread the saw blade itself through the inside and then start cutting on the inside of something, which you can do that with a jigsaw as well. This just gives you a little bit more like a finer control. I wouldn't recommend cutting something this thick either, you know, stick to smaller things. Blades are very, very thin on these guys. And then we just have a nice little cheap, again, Harbor Freight bandsaw with a disc on this side here. I took off the protectors on it, and I believe there was a cover on this side as well. I also took that off because it was building up a lot of dust in there. We have a little torch here, randomly used for stuff. This is a belt for the rigid sander over here. This I just made a little shroud for some dust collection because this puts up a lot of dust. This is probably the most used tool in the shop when I'm breaking down stuff. And for the most part, I use two different grits of sandpaper. I believe this is 100 and that one is 80. 50 and 100, I just checked. Yeah, this one's pretty aggressive. It rips up the wood pretty good and tears it down and gets it down to a general shape that I like. You also have the options over here for the regular rounded ones. This is probably my favorite tool that I use, and like I said, the most used. And then I just have this stupid shroud set up here with a flexible hose going to the dust collector. Harbor Freight dust collector, When environmental filter. So this is a very fine filter, so whatever it's sucking in, it's not blowing out a bunch of dust into the atmosphere, I guess you can say. Let's switch back to over here again. I got some extra hoses there. That's another little like dust collector thing. I was trying to use it for some painting and it doesn't get rid of the fumes enough. It works okay for like little painting stuff, but you really need to be able to vent it outside. I don't have any windows in this room. I don't know if you guys noticed that. So that kind of defeats the purpose of it. So I'm gonna reuse that for something else. I just don't know yet what that's gonna be used for. Oh, I also have some pieces of wood in here that were actually sent. I believe these were sent by Kerbo, if I'm not mistaken. I still haven't been able to use them because I still haven't come up with a good way to use them. So they're still just sitting here. I still have them, Kerbo. So thank you for sending them to me. I will eventually use them. And then we have my crappy little rigid, what is it called? Vacuum here, shop vac. We got the HEPA filter in there with the bag as well. You guys can see that bag in there. Highly recommend, if you guys are gonna use a shop vac for something, I highly recommend using the bag and the HEPA filter. For it. If you end up not using the HEPA filter or any sort of filter with bag, what ends up happening is, especially the bag, if you just have the filter in there, it'll clean out the air. But the problem is that filter gets clogged so fast, especially when you're doing stuff like wand making and stuff and finer things where you're just sanding all the time and you're using that to draw up the sand. It's gonna clog up really fast. The other thing I have attached to it is the dust deputy. Let me move this again. Is the dust deputy. So this is the Oneida Dust Deputy. I've had it for a while. I hadn't used it for a long time. So I just have it hooked up like this, where it's pulling in through here. Whatever particles it picks up, the cyclone helps separate it. So the bigger particles get caught in this bucket, and then the finer things go into the filter that get drawn out through here, which are the important things. You want to catch those, because if you don't, that gets knocked up into the air and then you're breathing in the bad stuff. So I guess let's just keep going around. Here we have the lathe. I was using a Harbor Freight lathe for a while, but then I decided to upgrade. In my opinion, it's an upgrade. Some people may not like this guy, but it does give you a couple of different options here. So when you turn it on, one, you can go forward, and you can also go in reverse. I like to usually turn it off before I turn it in reverse. So we got an R and an F there. So up is reverse, so then we turn that, and then it goes it goes in reverse. And obviously we have a speed change here, and we still also have the belt here. So this will allow you to go from a couple of different ranges, so 60 to 900 RPM and so on. So the fastest that it'll go is 3600, and that's what I just have it set to that, because usually I'm not turning huge things. The bigger something that the bigger things that you turn, there we go. The bigger things that you turn, the slower you want to go, because the outward circumference. So if this is the thing that's spinning here, right? If the bigger the thing is, it's doing one rotation. So that outer ring will be moving a lot faster than the inner ring. So when something is smaller, let's say this size here, and it's spinning, you can crank up the speed because it's not going to be moving as fast as this. I hope that makes sense. And then I just have some cheap chisels there, and then I have these guys. I actually really like these for detail work. This is I believe the pen. It's like the pen set. I'll link to these two. These were also purchased on Amazon. I'm not affiliated with any of these companies. This is just what I use, so I figured I'd show you guys. And this has three different sizes. So there's a rounded one here, there's a nice little pointy one, and then a square one, which you can do most of this or all of this with those tools as well. But I just like these because the carbide tip, you can just change them out. You don't have to worry about like sharpening stuff and doing all of that. Now let's move over to the messy part of the shop. This is just my stupid card tables that I just have basically junk on right now, and I'm still trying to figure out how things are gonna go, or where things are gonna go. We have a drill, we have a dumb little press thing there with my old rotary tool on it. We have the actual rotary tool that I use most of the time here. There's some broken wands on the table as well. We have some random tools here, some glue, something that I'm mocking up really quick here, and then the compressor over there, that's a Husky compressor. It's really nice. It's nice and quiet. It really isn't bad at all. You know what? I'll turn it on for you guys so you can hear it. Really not bad, to be honest. It has a nice like little low hum. It's not terrible whatsoever. And then here, this is just miscellaneous crap going on, some wires, solder, some random stuff. This is interesting. I actually just purchased this little shelf here, which I didn't know if I should have done that or not. I should have just built something, but this was cheaper and faster. So that's what I ended up doing. The shelves are all adjustable. It's just like a metal shelf that you can buy like from anywhere. This one's nice. It has these little, these little fake wooden things, and this is nice because if I spill something on this, it's actually like a plastic, so it's not going to ruin the wood. It's not like MDF. It does have like a layer of plastic on it, the fake wood look. The other side, if we look underneath, is actually white as well. So if you wanted a all white shelf, you can do that. This one is the slightly more expensive one because it has the solid white on the front as opposed to the little, you can see that all the way through. I think it was like 10 bucks or 15 bucks more for this. It's a good size. I believe this one's a 16-inch deep one by, I'll put it in the description what it is, which one I got. So I just have this set up kind of like tools that I don't use that often on the bottom, tools that I use a little bit less, and then this is kind of like just storage for random stuff, like phone, coffee, some tools that I use often. And then up here we have more like of the camera stuff, my filter for my mask, and then up here it's like kind of the consumables. So we have some sandpapers, a Monster, some semi-gloss spray, glues, my mask that I use. Highly recommend this mask or one of the other 3M masks. I use this all the time. Also, if you ever get any of these activated charcoal filters, make sure you put them in a bag when you're not using them. Today, I'll probably not be using these, but I'll be popping these off the mask and putting these guys back on there just to filter the air as I'm breathing it in, because one, I do have dust collection, but you still get a little bit of air or a little bit of dust in the air. So definitely recommend doing that. So now the last thing is pretty much just the air filter up here, and then the AC unit over there. So that is a Mr. Cool 12 BTU heat pump AC unit, right? So it does heat and AC. It's been working really well. We've had a mild winter though, so it hasn't been like having to work really hard. So I just turn it on whenever I'm gonna come in here, and then I warm it up. And then usually when I have all the tools running anyway, it warms up even more, and it's going pretty good. Remember, if you guys remember, the entire shop is insulated except for the floor. The floor is not insulated, so that's the only thing that usually like I'll lose a lot of heat through. But heat rises, so I feel like either way, it's not that bad. Now, let's talk about this big boy over here. Jet makes several different ones. There's a ton of different companies out there that make basically this. And the reason I went with this one specifically, one, I usually when I'm shopping for stuff and they come out with a newer model, if the price isn't ridiculous, I'll usually get it. This one I got because some people may not like it, but it actually has a plastic shell, which made it a lot easier for me to carry it up and hang it up there by myself, because I did hang that up by myself. I did some brackets up there because the spacing between the hanging spots are not actually far enough. If you guys want, I'll do a dedicated video just for this, but the main reason I bought this is because it has the automatic turn on feature basically. So if you also comes with a little remote. I have it low enough where I can actually reach it. The remote is nice because it does have a couple of, obviously you can turn it on from there, but then it has basically all the options that you have up on the unit are also on the remote, besides the toggled on-off switch. Right now it's set to the on position, but it's off because there's two on buttons basically, but we can turn it on. There you go. So that's on low, and we could set it to auto, and what it'll do on auto is if it senses dust in the air, it'll kick on. It's been working pretty well. I do plan on doing like a full video on it to show all the stuff that it does. It doesn't do much, it runs and it doesn't run. Those are the two things. It'll turn on and off, and that's about it. But I do plan on doing a video, so if you guys are interested in getting it, I mean, my general thing is I do recommend it. Haven't had any issues with it. I've heard that some people have had some issues with it breaking. I've had it since, it's been installed in here for a couple months now. Haven't had any sort of issues with it. So it does filter really well, and it does kick on when I start work. Probably within like a minute or so of me throwing up some dust, it'll kick on. So it's been working pretty well. So I think that wraps it up for this video. If you guys enjoyed this, make sure to leave a comment down below, or at least like the video if you did. If it helped you with it in any way, let me know. If it didn't, also let me know. Let me see what you guys, let me know what you guys want to see more of. If you want me to go more into detail. As I upgrade the shop and I do more to it, I do plan on doing some more of these videos, maybe on a regular basis. I have planned on getting some more of these shelves that I got, and they're, like I said, they're pretty good. I'm pretty happy with them, and they're just nice cheap shelves. I may do a more permanent thing, but I don't think that that's a great idea for me right now, just because I change my mind a lot when it comes to how I want things set up, and I like to be able to be mobile pretty much. I think I mentioned before, there is a cheaper version of this shelf that's a little bit cheaper, just because it doesn't have the look. It's a little bit more rugged looking, I guess. I do plan on actually buying some of those for the garage, because I think they're more of like a garage look, and they come in black as well. I just went white because I always get white stuff. You guys know that. My car's white, my house is white, the walls are, no, that's not why, but I like the nice clean look of the white. It also helps reflect light better, again, for recording and stuff. A lot of my stuff revolves around recording. Granted, I haven't been recording a lot, but that's what I'm trying to do with this one. So If you guys want to support the channel, make sure to check out the Patreon. If you want to just join as a channel member, that's cool too. If you don't, it's perfectly fine. I appreciate you checking out this video, and hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.